If you're feeling lost right now, I need you to hear this. A commercial plane flying from LA to Miami is off its trajectory almost the entire flight. 90% of the time, it's not even flying on the trajectory, on the path, on the line it's supposed to. Wind pushes it, turbulence pushes it, even the curvature of the earth influences its pattern. And the whole time it's correcting. A little bit here, a little bit there, hundreds of tiny corrections the entire flight. And it still lands exactly where it's supposed to. So if you feel lost right now, I want you to consider something. You're not lost. You're just a plane that hasn't corrected yet. In this video, I'm gonna show you why you feel lost, what's actually keeping you stuck, and how to start correcting course without hating yourself in the process. You're probably not gonna like this, but feeling lost, it's not a location. It's not a place. You didn't just randomly wander off the map. You saw the way forward and you didn't like what you saw. You saw what it would cost you, who you'd have to disappoint, what you'd have to give up, what might not work out. There's actual science behind why this freezing happens. Psychologists call it loss aversion. And it means a loss hits your brain twice as hard as an equal gain feels good. So when you're starting at what correcting might cost you, your brain isn't measuring it fairly, it's amplifying it. And so you froze. You called that freezing being lost. But it's not that you don't know the way, it's that you're scared of what the way actually requires. And here's the part that makes it worse. Most people don't stay lost because they never tried to fix it. They stay lost because they tried once, they tried twice, and it didn't work. There's a name for that. It's called learned helplessness. Psychologist Martin Seligman coined that term back in the 60s. Studying what happens after repeated failure stops registering as bad luck and starts registering as identity. You try to change something and it doesn't work. You try again, still doesn't work. And your brain starts braining to stay alive. It files it away. Don't try that again, it's not worth it. You might think that's weakness, and it's not. It's wiring. Your nervous system is built to protect you from repeating pain, but that same wiring is what keeps you still long after it stopped protecting you and started trapping you. So you stop correcting, but the drift don't stop. Something always fills its place. For some people, it's alcohol. For others, it's porn. For some, it's scrolling on their phone instead of actually feeling. Buying something to feel something. So this part right here, I need you to actually sit with. 1% compounds every single day. It compounds in the direction that it's helping you, or it compounds in the direction that's destroying you. And a lot of the depression that people carry, a lot of the low self-worth, it isn't some deep mystery. It's the thing they're doing every single day that they already know isn't good for them. And you already know what it is. I think it's time for you to be honest with yourself. Honestly, I've been lost just like this many times in my life. One specific time stands out. It was in my late 20s, early 30s, doing what a lot of guys do at that age. Pursuing women, sleeping around, chasing the next one, on to the next. At that same time, I was also deep into doing my own deeper work. So by default, I was sensitive intuitively. Sensitive to energy, sensitive to what other people were carrying. There was one woman and I ended up picking up on her depression. I also picked up on her anxiety and the war that I wasn't even aware about that she was fighting on the inside within herself. And if you think about it, we attract likeness. We attract others who are just like us. So in essence, it was a perfect match. Regardless of the perfect match, I definitely felt it and I started carrying it and I legit felt like garbage the next day. And you wanna know something else? It compounded every single day and it ended up lasting a whole entire month, which brought me into what's called the dark night of the soul. I was lost. And after 4 months of desperation and trying to figure out what was wrong with me, I came across a quote, a passage from Alan Watts where he talks about a spider web. He said, zoom out on a spider web and all you see is pure beauty. The dew hits it, the sun hits it, it has a glow, a sparkle to it. It looks like art. Then he said, zoom in a little bit more and all you see is chaos. Threads crisscrossing, intertwining everywhere, pure chaos. And depending who you are, that same web can mean completely two different things. For the spider, it means survival. It's food. It's literally life. And for the bug caught in it, what do you think it perceives it as? Death. Same object, two completely different truths, depending on where you're standing. And when I heard that, a light literally went on. It felt like part of my brain, my soul, my spirit. It felt like it got activated. I realized I was only looking at one side of the page. I was only looking through a zoomed in part that was seeing only chaos. I essentially was only seeing the dark side of what I was going through. There was a gift, an opportunity hiding inside that depression that I had no idea was there. I wasn't even looking for it. All I was trying to do was get out. And that single reframe pulled me out almost instantly. But that reframe, it wasn't the whole thing. What came after that mattered even more. I got clear. As ironic as this sounds, after everything I experienced, I actually wanted an intentional, conscious relationship. So I got intentional. And it wasn't because I needed to be in a relationship. It was because I reached a point I wanted it, because I was perfectly okay being single. It was the difference of wanting it, or rather choosing it, than needing it. That reorganized my mind, and it gave me the ability to say no to everything that was in the way. I definitely stopped chasing, and I started to withdraw myself from all of the noise that was going on around me. I got selective about who I let in, who I let get close, and that's really just a version of what I teach now, currently in my coaching business. I call it the check-in. Before you react, before you chase, before you repeat the same pattern again, ask yourself this question: am I coming from clarity right now, or am I coming from an old pattern? That month, honestly, I was coming from an old pattern. And once I named it, once I called myself out, once I saw that clear as day, I could finally choose something else. Check out this next part. Few people rarely talk about this. Fear and excitement are wired almost identically in your brain. Same racing heart, same tight chest, same rush. Researchers at Harvard actually tested this. People who said, "I'm excited" out loud before something stressful performed way better than those who tried to calm themselves down. Same nervous system activity, completely different outcome just from relabeling it. Which means a lot of the time you're actually not afraid. You're really excited and you don't know it yet. Now, I have a tool. I call it the dial. I taught this in the previous video called trauma intelligence. You use it to turn the intensity of a feeling up or down consciously on your terms. I use it for feelings, for intuition, for downloads, and honestly for tuning out annoying people. But this isn't the dial situation. This is something entirely different. This is transmutation. Transmutation means taking something and changing it entirely into a different form. You're not turning it up or turning it down. You're changing entirely what it is into a different form. Fear and excitement are a perfect example because biologically they are entirely the same response. The only difference is the label you put on it. So when I relabel it, I'm not managing fear itself. I'm transmuting it into something else entirely different. So here's how I actually do it. I repeat to myself over and over until it sinks in. I'm excited, I'm stoked, I'm excited for what's to come, I'm excited to perform, I'm excited to show up, and I'm excited to do my best. So the next time you're about to do something and it feels like dread, ask yourself this: is this actually fear, or is this excitement that I haven't given my permission to feel just yet? Don't turn it down, transmute it. Real quick, do you mind doing me a favor? If you have found this content so far being valuable, do you mind dropping a like on this video? This will actually help this video reach more people who are just like you, who would find value just like you. Thank you, I appreciate that. Here's the trade people think they're making when they feel stuck. They think it's safety versus risk. It's not. There's a term for this in behavioral psychology. It's called status quo bias. It's a well-documented tendency to stick with what's familiar, even when it's working against you, simply because familiar feels safer than what it actually is. It's the known versus an adventure, but it's not safety. It's stagnation. And a plane correcting its course over and over the entire flight isn't risky. Standing still was never the safe option. It just felt familiar. I lived this in my previous career too. I had a job, good consistent money, very comfortable. But I felt stuck there because it was a dead end, trading dollars for hours with a ceiling on both. I wanted to coach, but for a while I had one foot in and one foot out. Half committed, not fully hanging my hat on the hook. And as you know, when you're half in on something, you stay stuck every single time. Not making a decision is the result of feeling stuck. Then I got invited to give 3 keynote talks. I didn't have enough time that I could take off to do both, the job and the talks. I had to choose, so I quit. No safety net, no perfect plan. This was truly a scary time in my life, but it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Everything changed after that. how I treated myself, how I ran my business, the boundaries I set, the systems I built. It started the moment I stopped straddling the fence. Here's something I need you to know. That wasn't the only time I felt lost. It happened to me more than a dozen times. And at some point, I stopped treating it like the end of the world. I started treating it like proof I'm still growing. I've accepted something deep. I've accepted the fact that my purpose right now, my purpose that I'm living out, it might not be my purpose 7 years down the road. I've accepted that as a possibility. I don't think of it as a threat or a loss, just a possibility. Bottom line, I'm not attached to any which direction this road goes. I'm doing the best with what I have, what I can, given what's in front of me right now. And I'm going all in no matter what. You've probably heard this before, but your body replaces every cell every 7 years. Do me a favor, think back 7 years. Most of you can look back 7 years and look at that version of yourself and not even recognize that version of yourself. You had different beliefs, different priorities. You were entirely a different person back then. So you can admit right now that change or regeneration, that's expected. That's how we operate. That's how we flow through life, through the universe. Change, regeneration, that's who you are. So if you feel like you're becoming someone or something different right now, just know that you're not losing yourself. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You're regenerating and recalibrating. Your flight will arrive safely. And consider this, sometimes the plan that you're drifting away from was never even your plan to begin with. Your family might ask you, why don't you have kids yet? Why aren't you married yet? Why aren't you further along? They ask you this because your life doesn't look like how they pictured it. And even if you don't buy into what they pictured, even if you don't fully buy into that timeline, the pressure does build and it can feel like it gets in the way. You're essentially carrying around someone else's program. And that can almost entirely guarantee that you're going to feel lost too. You're steering a wheel in a vehicle that was never meant for you to drive and to navigate and to push forward in life. And this is why feeling lost can feel so much bigger than just knowing what's next. Think of a caterpillar. Psychologists have a name for this too. It's called liminality, the in-between state where the old identity has already dissolved, but the new one hasn't formed yet. And that's actually the same territory as the dark night of the soul. Not a malfunction, but a threshold. Before it becomes anything new, it has to fully dissolve in the cocoon. And that ain't no small shift. That's a complete breakdown or transmutation, changing the form of what it used to be. If you're shedding an old identity, of course it's gonna feel disorienting. Of course it feels isolating. You're not losing your mind, but you're definitely shedding a part of yourself that doesn't fit anymore. Here's what I really want you to walk away with today. When you catch yourself feeling lost, that's not a failure. That's consciousness doing its job. Most people never become aware of this. They stay lost and they never realize that they always had a choice. And keep this in mind, you noticing, you becoming aware that you're lost, that in itself is redirection already happening. So be careful when you catch it. And ask yourself the real question, is this actually me or is this my old programming? You can always ask yourself too, is this an old blueprint from society, from your parents, from your past, about how things are supposed to look? Don't judge yourself for feeling lost, just redirect yourself. Remember the plane, it's off course almost the entire flight, and it still lands exactly where it's meant to. And check this out, you will too. If you had an aha moment watching this, that was part of the plan. And be sure to subscribe because this is what we do here every single week. I get these downloads regularly. And honestly, keeping them to myself, that's a whole different level of selfishness that I'm not about to tap into. So if this helped you see more clearly, stick around. I make the unconscious conscious so you can create your life by conscious design. There's more where this came from. Thank you for being here.